Hey guys, what's going on? It's Mathew Blades. And you know what? If I only had 5 minutes with you, what would I want you to know from last week's podcast? That is the entire premise behind these quick tips episodes that I drop the week after the podcast comes out. And now, in the case of Patricia Noel, an unbelievable interview from a woman who has endured so much pain in her life, but has decided, because I truly believe that she is the transitional character in her family, she's decided that enough is enough. And there are 2 points of this podcast that if you haven't listened to it yet, I really want you to pay attention to. There's the bit about forgiveness. It's a very powerful discussion, and it's about 10 minutes long, but I think you will walk away with a very clear understanding of the different types of forgiveness that are that are out there, and as well as how to execute forgiveness and buy into the fact that it's not a one-time act, it's more of a process. So that's part 1. Part 2, we get into this incredible discussion about anger and its usefulness. Listen to this.
Anger is a very useful emotion to have, because it can be a driving force. So anger can be the energy to move you in a direction. So I think the thing to watch out for, or the thing to consider with it, is when you're feeling angry, don't automatically respond, because the automatic response could be tapped directly into prior traumas. And so you might be baited into responding in a certain way if you're dealing with somebody who's manipulative specifically, because they can use your anger against you to move you in a direction that they want you to go, right? So I think the growth and the maturity when it comes to anger is to be able to step back from it, take a couple of deep breaths, work on some things to get yourself centered, and then ask yourself, what do I need to do with this, right? Because anger comes up when there's been a trespass, when somebody's violating a boundary in some way. That's where the anger comes in. And the deeper the violation of the boundary, the more intense the anger is. So I think stepping back, getting a measure of control, and being deliberate about how you respond to it, and not just reacting immediately the way your first intention is, because that can oftentimes come from earlier trauma and may not take you in the direction that you want to go.
Can I just jump in here? Because, you know, when I listen to you talk, Patricia, I think, you know, here's a woman who has been violated. Let's just use the word the way it is, been violated 9 times to Sunday her entire life. And I think it's safe to say that eventually any one of us would get to a stage where we've, as the old saying goes, we've had it up to here. Like there is no more capacity for a pause. There is no more capacity for, let me breathe on this for a couple of more minutes. Like, it's gotten to a stage where you just need something to change. And that's what I feel about you, Patricia. I could be completely off on that, but the sense that I get is like, enough is enough. And no longer will I sit here and be quiet. No longer will I sit here and allow this to keep brewing and manifesting. And for sure, no way will I ever let this happen to another girl just like me. Is that some of what you feel?
I love this conversation so much. You know, one of the biggest things for me in this, you know, most recently this traumatic brain injury, but also moving through my childhood, is that I am a firm believer that we call in life experiences for our growth. And one of the most astounding things was that I did not know that I could still be persuaded out of my truth. And when I learned that I actually could be persuaded out of my truth and abandon myself, and the self-betrayal was still there, I was awestruck that after all the healing and schooling and working with thousands of clients, I still had that wound that was acting inside of me, that didn't love myself enough to say no against any circumstance that was misaligned for my well-being. And so one of the things that I have had to do is sit in that fire of, why, when my body said no, did I say yes? Why have I dated narcissistic men? Why have I dated sex addicts? Why, I mean, the laundry list is long, and you can read about it in my memoir. But I think this most recent circumstance really landed me on my knees of when I betrayed myself again by not listening to my body, and I bestowed my faith and trust in someone other than my own innate wisdom, it landed me in 3 years of a living hell of recovery. And it was a grand price to pay to draw a line in the sand, as you said, Matthew, of I will never betray myself again.
Patricia gave us such an incredible conversation and so much to think about. So I really encourage you, if some of this stuck out to you and you're like, you know what, I need to check in with that podcast, I want you to listen to that little voice and go back and listen to the interview with Patricia Noel, which was released last week here on Learn from People Who Lived It. Thanks again for being a part of our community. Please don't forget to like, to subscribe, and to share it with a friend that needs to hear it. Have an amazing week.